Welcome to our deep dive, into the 48 Laws of Power
Yeah.
by Robert
Yep.
Greene.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll be, kind of going through and exploring some of the laws.
Yeah.
Using, historical examples and anecdotes from the book.
Right.
And, you might find some of these laws a little unsettling.
Yeah.
But remember, it's all about understanding the
Exactly.
dynamics of power,
Right.
not necessarily endorsing all of them.
Yeah. It's not a how-to manual. It's more
Mhm.
like just an observation.
Yeah, a guidebook.
Yeah.
All right, so let's jump right in with Law 6, court attention at all costs.
Mhm. This law emphasizes the importance of standing out, making yourself noticed.
Mhm.
And Greene tells a really captivating story of Count Lustig,
Oh, yeah.
a con man who understood the power of,
Yeah.
cultivating an air of mystery.
So Lustig would create a buzz around himself.
Right.
He would check into a luxury hotel, for
Yeah.
example, and let rumors spread about his wealth,
Exactly.
drawing people to him. And then, of course, he would use that attention to his advantage
Of course.
in his elaborate scams.
It's a reminder that appearances can be deceiving.
Right.
And that perception is sometimes more potent than reality.
Yeah.
But how does one court attention ethically?
That's a great point.
What are the boundaries?
Yeah, where's the line?
Something for you to think about
Right.
as you go through the rest of these.
Moving on to Law 7, get others to do the work for you.
Okay.
But always take the credit.
Mm-hmm.
This law is all about strategy.
It's about leveraging other people's efforts
Mm-hmm.
to advance your own cause.
Right.
And a rather controversial example Greene uses is
Okay.
Thomas Edison taking credit for Nikola Tesla's work
Oh, yeah.
on the alternating current system.
Right.
Tesla was this brilliant inventor.
Yeah, he didn't get the recognition he deserved.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder, how can we delegate work effectively,
Right.
but also ensure that everyone involved gets the credit they deserve?
Right. How do you balance that?
That's an important question to consider, especially for those in leadership positions.
Now, Law 12. Use selective honesty and generosity to disarm your victim.
Okay.
This one sounds almost counterintuitive.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But think of it like this.
Okay.
Calculated acts of kindness can lower people's defenses.
Interesting.
And Greene illustrates this with the story of Yellow Kid Weil,
Okay.
a con artist known for carefully planned acts of honesty.
Okay. So he's playing the long game here.
Yeah, he would intentionally lose small bets
Haha.
to gain his target's trust before going in for the big con.
I see. So building up that rapport.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He understood that a display of honesty, even if it's just an act,
Right.
can create a false sense of security and make people more willing to let their guard down.
Right. It makes you wonder how much of what we see is genuine
Exactly.
and how much is a calculated strategy.
Yeah.
This definitely raises questions about trust and discernment.
Absolutely. And it reminds us to be aware,
Yeah.
not take everything at face value.
All right, so let's look at Law 13. When asking for help, appeal to people's self-interest, never to their mercy or gratitude.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on this one?
Well, it seems to be saying that appealing to someone's sense of obligation or past favors
Right.
is less effective than highlighting how helping you will benefit them.
Mm-hmm.
I think what Greene is trying to say is that we're all motivated by self-interest to some degree.
I think that's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And a fantastic example Greene uses is Joseph Duveen,
Okay.
who was a highly successful art dealer
Mm-hmm.
who understood this principle perfectly.
Okay.
He realized that by helping his clients donate art to museums,
Uh-huh.
he could appeal to their desire for tax benefits
Right.
and philanthropic recognition.
Of course.
And it wasn't just limited to art.
Wow.
He managed to convince Andrew Mellon,
Oh, wow.
who was a powerful financier and art collector,
Right?
to donate his entire collection
Wow.
to establish the National Gallery of Art.
That's incredible.
It's a fascinating example of how understanding human motivation can be used to achieve remarkable things.
Yeah, but it also begs the question,
Yeah,
where do we draw the line between appealing to self-interest
right.
and manipulating others?
Where is that line?
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to Law 14, pose as a friend, work as a spy.
Okay.
This one sounds almost, sneaky.
It does, but Greene is highlighting the importance of gathering intelligence and being aware of the motivations of others.
Right.
A rather extreme example he uses is Joseph Fouché,
Okay.
Napoleon's minister of police.
Right.
Fouché had this extensive network of informants
Mm-hmm.
and was known for his cunning.
Yeah.
He even spied on Napoleon's own spies.
Wow, so keeping everybody on their toes.
Yeah, it's a reminder to be mindful of the information we share and with whom.
Right, but wouldn't you say it's important to differentiate between strategic information gathering
Absolutely.
and outright deception?
Yeah, it's about being informed and strategic.
Right.
Not about resorting to unethical tactics.
Okay. Law 18. Isolate yourself from your enemies by blending in with the crowd.
Okay, this one seems a bit paradoxical.
It does. You'd think isolation would protect you.
Right.
But Greene argues that blending in can be more effective.
Interesting.
And he contrasts this with the story of China's first emperor,
Mm-hmm.
Qin Shi Huangdi, who isolated himself in his later years.
Okay.
And this ultimately led to a loss of control
Yeah.
and the downfall of his dynasty.
That's a powerful example of how even the most powerful individuals can become vulnerable
Mm-hmm.
when they cut themselves off from others.
Yeah.
It highlights the importance of social connection
Right.
and how it can act as a buffer against potential threats.
Yeah, it definitely makes you think about the balance between maintaining a sense of privacy
Yeah.
and cultivating a supportive network.
Right. It's a delicate balance for sure.
Okay, Law 33. Discover each man's thumbscrew.
Okay.
This one sounds a bit ominous.
It does, but it's also incredibly insightful.
Okay.
Greene is suggesting that everyone has a weakness, a fear, or a secret desire
Right?
that can be exploited.
Yeah.
And he provides a fascinating example
Okay.
from the court of King Louis XIV.
Right.
The king had a finance minister named Fouquet,
Okay.
who, through his extravagance, unintentionally outshone the king.
Oh, so he made the king look bad.
Yes, essentially.
Wow.
And Louis, feeling threatened, replaced Fouquet with someone more frugal.
Interesting.
It's a reminder that sometimes our greatest strengths can also be our greatest weaknesses.
Yeah, you've got to be careful.
And that understanding human nature
Right.
is key to wielding power effectively.
You know, knowledge is power.
Yeah, but it's important to remember that this knowledge should be used responsibly and ethically.
Right.
Understanding someone's thumbscrew shouldn't be about manipulation,
Yeah.
but about empathy and understanding.
All right, building relationships.
Exactly.
Okay, Law 36, disdain things you cannot have. Ignoring them is the best revenge.
Mm-hmm. This law emphasizes the power of strategic indifference. By acknowledging something, you give it power over you.
Hmm.
By ignoring it, you diminish its importance.
So you take away its power by ignoring it.
Precisely.
Okay.
Think of P.T. Barnum.
Okay.
He was often criticized,
Yeah.
but he knew how to use it to his advantage.
Oh, really? How do you do that?
Instead of getting defensive, he would often embrace the controversy,
Mm-hmm.
turning it into a spectacle that only increased public interest in his shows.
Interesting.
Barnum understood that any publicity, even negative publicity, could be
Right.
beneficial.
Interesting.
He turned his critics into unwitting promoters,
Wow.
and their attacks only amplified his fame and fortune.
So he was able to spin it in his favor.
Exactly.
That's pretty impressive.
It's a powerful example of how controlling your reactions can actually work in your favor.
Wow.
It's about focusing on what you can control and not letting external factors derail you.
So using that energy productively.
Exactly.
All right, Law 40, despise the free lunch. This one seems to be saying that there are always strings attached
Mm-hmm.
to something offered for free.
There's often a hidden obligation or a catch.
Right.
True value, according to Greene, lies in investing your own resources and effort.
Makes sense.
And of course, Count Lustig makes another appearance here.
Oh, really?
Greene recounts the story of how Lustig conned a man with a supposedly free money-duplicating machine.
Oh, boy.
Of course, the machine was a fake, and the victim ended up paying dearly for his belief in a free lunch.
Ouch. Yeah, so again, appearances can be deceiving.
Exactly.
It's a reminder that nothing in life is truly free.
Right.
If something sounds too good to be true.
It probably is.
It probably is. Yeah, it also raises questions about the value of hard work
Mm-hmm.
and the dangers of seeking shortcuts.
Yeah, those get you every time.
All right, and finally, for this part of our deep dive, let's consider Law 41. Avoid stepping into a great man's shoes.
Okay, this one seems relevant for anyone taking on a leadership role following a successful predecessor.
It's about the challenge of establishing your own identity and legacy when you're constantly being compared to someone who came before you.
Exactly.
And Greene uses the example of Louis the X5.
Okay.
who inherited the throne from the legendary Louis IV.
Oh.
And despite all the resources and advantages at his disposal,
Mm-hmm.
Louis V struggled to live up to his grandfather's legacy and ultimately failed to make his own mark.
It must be daunting to follow in the footsteps of a giant.
It certainly is. This law is a cautionary tale about the importance of forging your own path
Yeah.
and not trying to simply imitate those who came before you.
It's about recognizing that each individual has unique strengths, and that trying to replicate someone else's success often leads to failure.
Right. So what are your thoughts on that?
I think it's about finding your own leadership style.
Yeah.
And leveraging your own strengths to achieve success.
Right.
Trying to fit into someone else's mold can actually hinder your growth and prevent you from reaching your full potential.
Right. It's about being authentic to yourself.
Absolutely.
And finding your own way.
Exactly.
Welcome back to our exploration of Robert Greene's The 48 Laws of Power.
Yeah.
We've already uncovered some pretty, intriguing and at times unsettling strategies
Yeah.
for gaining and maintaining power.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really fascinating how these laws, often drawn from historical examples, still resonate in today's world.
It really is.
So are you ready to dive back in?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so Law 3, concentrate your forces.
Okay.
This one emphasizes focus.
It's about directing your energy and resources towards a specific goal.
Right.
Much like a magnifying glass focuses sunlight to create a powerful beam.
That's a good analogy.
Greene uses the Rothschild banking dynasty as an example.
Okay.
They rose to power by concentrating their resources on specific industries and markets rather than spreading themselves too thin.
So focusing on their strengths.
Exactly.
Interesting.
It's a reminder that sometimes having a narrower focus can actually lead to greater impact.
Right? I mean, you see that a lot in business.
Definitely.
But how does one determine where to concentrate their forces?
Right. What factors should you consider?
Yeah, that's an insightful question.
Something to think about as you go through the rest of these.
All right, Law 28, enter action with boldness.
Okay.
This emphasizes the power of decisive action and projecting confidence even when you might not feel it.
Right. Faking it till you make it.
Yeah, it's about seizing opportunities and taking calculated risks.
Greene tells the story of Giacomo Casanova,
Oh, yeah.
who was a master of entering social situations with confidence and charm, even if it was all a facade.
So he was kind of a master manipulator.
You could say that he understood that people are drawn to those who exude self-assurance.
Yeah, I mean, we see that all the time.
For sure.
But what about the ethical implications of faking it till you make it?
Right.
Is there a point where confidence crosses over into arrogance or manipulation?
That's a great point to consider.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something to ponder. Okay, Law 37, create compelling spectacles.
Right?
This one highlights the power of visual storytelling and grand gestures.
Yes, to capture attention and influence perceptions.
Right.
Think of Dr. Weisslitter, an 18th century physician
Okay.
who used elaborate props and costumes in his medical treatments
Oh, wow.
to create a sense of mystery and spectacle.
So like a showman.
Yeah, kind of a snake oil salesman, but with a medical degree.
So even back then, people were doing this kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting.
While his methods might have been questionable,
Right.
his dramatic presentations captured the public's imagination and contributed to his fame and influence.
So it worked.
It did.
I mean, it makes you think about the importance of presentation
Yeah,
and how creating a memorable experience can leave a lasting impression.
definitely.
But how can you create a compelling spectacle without resorting to sensationalism or deception?
Right. Where's that line?
It's a fine line to walk.
It is.
Okay, Law 42, strike the shepherd and the sheep will scatter.
Okay, this one sounds a bit ruthless.
It does have a military feel to it, doesn't it?
It does.
It highlights the importance of targeting the leader or source of power
Right.
to dismantle an organization or movement.
Like cutting off the head of the snake.
Right.
Greene provides several examples from history,
Okay.
including the story of Grigory Rasputin, the Russian mystic, who had immense influence over Tsarina Alexandra. His enemies, recognizing the threat his influence posed, ultimately assassinated him,
Wow.
weakening the Tsarina and destabilizing the monarchy.
So a pretty effective tactic.
It can be.
But I mean, it raises a crucial question.
Yeah.
Is it ever ethical to target an individual?
Right.
Even if they hold a position of power, what are the potential consequences of such actions?
Those are important ethical considerations.
Okay. Law 44, disarm and infuriate with the mirror effect.
Okay. This one suggests that mirroring your opponent's behavior can be a powerful way to neutralize their aggression. and gain a psychological advantage.
So, like throwing them off balance?
Think of Joseph Fouché, Napoleon's Minister of Police. He was a master at using the mirror effect to navigate the treacherous world of politics.
Right.
He would subtly adopt his opponent's mannerisms and appear to agree with them, lulling them into a false sense of security while secretly plotting his own course.
So playing the long game.
Yeah, it's a fascinating example of how understanding and adapting to someone's behavior can be used to gain an advantage.
But it also raises questions about authenticity and manipulation.
Yeah.
Where do we draw the line?
That's a thought-provoking question.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay, and finally, for this part of our deep dive, Law 45, preach the need for change, but never reform too much at once.
Okay, so this law seems to advise against radical change.
Yeah, advocating instead for gradual incremental reform.
Greene uses the example of Oliver Cromwell, the English military and political leader, who, despite his desire for sweeping reforms, ultimately failed to implement lasting change because he underestimated the public's resistance to radical transformation.
So he went too fast too soon.
You could say that.
It's interesting how even well-intentioned change can be met with resistance if it's perceived as too drastic or disruptive.
It really is. It highlights the importance of understanding social dynamics and the need for a strategic, measured approach when implementing change.
What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's a crucial insight for leaders in any field.
Yeah.
Change to be effective must be carefully managed.
Right.
And consider the psychological and social factors that influence people's willingness to adapt.
Absolutely. Welcome back to our deep dive into Robert Greene's The 48 Laws of Power.
Yeah.
We've covered a lot of ground, exploring strategies and tactics for gaining and maintaining power.
Right. We've seen a lot of examples from history.
Absolutely. And it's been fascinating to unpack these laws and consider their implications, both historically and in our own lives.
It really has. It makes you think about how these dynamics play out.
All right. So are you ready to kind of delve into the final remaining laws?
Yeah, let's get started.
Okay, so Law 15, crush your enemy. Totally.
This one sounds pretty intense.
It does, doesn't it? But Greene emphasizes decisive action when dealing with rivals.
Right.
He uses the example of Liu Bang,
Okay.
a ruler in ancient China who defeated his rival, but hesitated to crush him completely.
Ooh.
And that hesitation proved to be a fatal mistake.
Oh, wow.
His rival regrouped and eventually defeated him.
So he had a second chance.
Yeah, and he took advantage of it.
It's a stark reminder that sometimes showing mercy can be a weakness in the game of power.
Yeah, it's a chilling example for sure.
Yeah.
It makes you think about the balance between compassion and strategy when dealing with those who oppose you.
Yeah. Where do you draw the line?
Right, okay. Law 20, do not commit to anyone.
Okay, this one seems to advocate for detachment and self-reliance.
It's about maintaining your independence and freedom to maneuver.
Greene highlights Queen Elizabeth I as a master of this principle. She skillfully navigated the treacherous waters of European politics by playing different suitors against each other.
Wow, so she kept everybody guessing.
Exactly. By not committing too early or too strongly to any one side, she retained her power and autonomy.
I see, so it was all about strategy.
Yeah.
But is it possible to build genuine relationships
Right.
while also adhering to this principle of non-commitment?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Where do we draw the line between strategic detachment and isolation?
Something to ponder.
Okay, Law 29 plan all the way to the end.
Right, this seems like a universal principle for success.
Absolutely. It's about thinking ahead, anticipating obstacles,
Right.
having a clear strategy.
Greene contrasts this with the story of Gonzalo Pizarro, who set out to discover El Dorado.
Oh, yeah. The mythical city of gold.
His expedition was poorly planned, driven by greed rather than a sound strategy.
Yeah.
They marched through treacherous jungles enduring hardship,
Oh, wow.
only to find nothing but disappointment.
So it was all for nothing.
Pretty much, it's a reminder that you need more than just ambition. You need a clear plan,
Right.
an understanding of potential challenges, and the ability to adapt when things don't go as expected.
So be prepared for the unexpected.
Exactly.
What are your thoughts on that?
I think it highlights the importance of preparation and due diligence, whether
Yeah.
you're embarking on a literal expedition
Yeah.
or pursuing a goal in any aspect of life.
Right. It's about doing your homework.
Exactly.
All right. Law 34. Be royal in your own fashion. Act like a king to be treated like one.
Okay, so this law is about projecting an image of confidence and self-assurance.
Greene uses the example of Count Victor Lustig.
Oh, yeah, another con man.
A con man who convinced people he was royalty, using his charm and impeccable manners to gain their trust.
Wow.
And ultimately deceive them.
So he was playing a role.
Yeah, it's fascinating how perception can shape reality.
It really is Lustig understood that people are drawn to those who exude an air of authority and sophistication.
Right, but where does confidence cross the line into arrogance or manipulation?
Yeah. That's a delicate balance.
It is. And how do you cultivate genuine confidence?
Right.
Without resorting to facades or pretense?
It's something to think about, for sure.
Yeah, okay. Law 47. Do not go past the mark you aimed for. In victory, learn when to stop.
This one seems to advocate for self-control.
Yeah, and knowing when to walk away from a winning situation.
Greene uses the example of Cyrus the Great, the founder of the Persian Empire.
Okay.
After a series of victories, he overextended his reach,
Oh.
leading to his downfall in a battle against nomadic tribes.
So he got a little too greedy.
Yeah, it's a reminder that even the most successful individuals can fall prey to hubris.
Yeah.
Knowing when to stop, consolidate your gains, and avoid pushing your luck too far is crucial.
So don't get cocky.
Right.
What are your thoughts on this?
It's a powerful lesson in the importance of discipline and self-awareness.
Right.
Sometimes knowing when to step back is just as important as knowing when to push forward.
Couldn't agree more. And finally, let's examine Law 1. Never outshine the master.
Okay, this is a crucial one for anyone navigating hierarchical structures.
It's about understanding the delicate balance of power and being mindful of how your actions are perceived by those in positions of authority.
Greene uses the example of Nicolas Fouquet, the finance minister to King Louis XIV.
Yeah.
Fouquet, through his extravagant spending and lavish parties, unintentionally overshadowed the king.
Oh, he made the king look bad again.
Yeah, leading to his downfall. Louis, feeling threatened, had him arrested and imprisoned.
So it's a cautionary tale about the importance of respecting the power dynamics at play.
You're right.
And not inadvertently threatening those above you.
Don't make your boss look bad.
Exactly. So what are your thoughts on this final law?
I think it's a valuable reminder that navigating power dynamics requires a certain level of awareness and finesse. It's about understanding the unspoken rules and expectations and acting accordingly.
So read the room.
Basically.
So we've reached the end of our deep dive into the 48 laws of power.
It's been quite a journey.
It has. It's been a thought-provoking exploration of the strategies and tactics used to gain and maintain power throughout history.
We've seen some fascinating examples.
We have, and we've examined these laws through the lens of historical figures and considered their relevance in our modern world.
It's been a really interesting look at human nature.
It has, and the often unspoken rules that govern our interactions.
Yeah.
So we hope you found this deep dive insightful and engaging.
We hope you enjoyed it.
And we encourage you to share your thoughts on the episode.
Yeah, let us know what you think.
And let us know which laws resonated most with you.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you.
And be sure to check the episode description for a link to purchase the paperback version of the 48 Laws of Power.
Yeah, pick up a copy.
Until next time, happy reading.